Are you walking around giving your power away to the things you cannot control? You know that there's things you can control on a day to day basis? Most people give no thought to the things that they can control, that are within their control. Think of how massively impactful the information you are consuming online is, just how impactful it is. And this goes to when you go to bedtime. And I know a lot of people don't think about this, but I discovered this years and years ago doing a course, and it was, what are you consuming for the last half hour, 45 minutes before you go to bed? I mean, I always meditated before I went to bed, but I never thought, like, prior to that, what am I consuming? Well, I mean, I love history movies and I love war movies and I love, blah, 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 blah. Just like everybody else has what they love. And when I flew back from Phoenix from this course I was in, I started taking a look at, holy crap, I'm wondering why I'm not sleeping well. I'm wondering why, in the middle of the night, I'm waking up going, what the hell was, I couldn't remember the dream, but I'm sitting upright in bed going, what the hell was that? So I started monitoring what my digestion of either TV, social media, like YouTube, whatever it happened to be. I started monitoring it over the next 2, 3 weeks. Oh, just love the birds. And here comes a kid. School must be out, the little rats. Anyways, I started monitoring what the content was that I was intaking before I went to bed. And what I found out was that it's like, well, you are consuming content that does not allow for you to have good rests, good sleeps, which is why you often wake up, like often. And we all do this. All of us. We are watching a movie just before bedtime and we go to crawl into bed and you're unsettled. I know I sure in the heck was unsettled. So my point is, I started to look at, and I'm posing this question to you all, is what content are you feeding yourself? Excuse me, I just had lunch. What content are you feeding yourself that just has you grow as a human being? Or are you even aware of the content? Like for me, that was in a long time, that's 10, 12 years ago. I wasn't even aware of what I was ingesting before I went to bed. So, and if you're like me, I caught myself scrolling one day and it was like, here, let me put this up here. I caught myself scrolling one day and I paused for a moment and I questioned, what are you watching? Like, what are you watching and why are you watching this? Is this helping me? And like, think about it. Like, at least I did. Much like food, what you consume on a social media or from a social media standpoint is much like the food as North Americans largely we eat that is freaking mostly poisonous. A story. I went to Italy in 2015 with a lady friend of mine, and after the third day in Italy, uh, she turned to me and she goes, you're not burping anymore. You don't have an upset stomach anymore. I said, I just realized that. Like I always get up really early, so I was up at 6 o'clock, 5:36, and I ended up walking and got myself one of their supposedly strong coffees. They're not strong in Italy. They're not strong. Anyways, I had to get them to add 2 more shots because I like my coffee strong. The point being, it's one of the things about the European countries, especially Italy, is they banned Monsanto. They banned all of the fertilizer companies that were poisoning the soil, and people were getting sick, and they realized it, so they banned them. Anyways, within what I flew from Florence to Amsterdam, and then I was a 9-hour flight back to where I live. And within 4 days, I notice it's like I'm sitting there going, burp, burp, what the? Oh, I'm back eating, and I eat really, really well. This vehicle's going by. So my point is, like I started, like not only, well, I had already been questioning what I eat and tried to eat as healthy as I could. But when it came to like the social media, um, is the social media you're consuming helping you to be healthy? Is it helping you to be, healthy and enlivened and enlightened? So there's a saying that I like. Well, it's not really a saying. It's two words with an equal sign in between. Progress equals happiness. And I don't necessarily mean a job either. Many people, many people feel unfulfilled nowadays. Like they don't care for their job. They don't care for their relationships. And they just flat feel unfulfilled. Especially like when they don't have a feeling like they're moving forward. And I mean emotionally and spiritually, because one of the pieces, I mean, I've been a long time meditator, so for me, I recognized years ago that I needed, somebody's rolling out their little green bins and blue bins. That's what that noise is. So start with the content that you are taking in, by the way. Um, I started doing this years and years and years ago, and came out of my meditations. And this is, what content are you taking in? And this also goes to the course that I took in Phoenix, which was, like the food you eat, like the food you consume, what content are you taking in? Because point number one, it can make you sick. Or point number two, it can make you well and spiritually happy and spiritually happy and healthy, depending on what it is that you're, taking in. Do you listen to people on social media, YouTube, podcasts, and so on that inspire you? There's so much negativity online. It's like this toxic element that we allow to flow into our lives, and we feel battered and beaten down. Oh my God, it's just so incredible. Eventually, to the point where, like, I was talking to a friend of mine here this morning over for a cup of tea, and she said her daughter went off on her because she is a conservative, and she said, my daughter used the F-bomb on me and screamed at me. Her husband ended up he walked in and went, whoa, 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 what are you doing? Found out that this lady's daughter does nothing but consume, like the husband said, I wake up in the middle of the night and she's on Facebook and she's on social media and she's just drinking this toxic stuff in. So so it kind of comes back to, what kind of content are you feeding yourself that feeds your soul, that feeds your well-being and has you want to smile and thrive and be happy, right? And I'm not to be preachy here, like that's not what I'm doing, but we all need to love and accept ourselves before anyone else ever will. Like, does that make sense to everybody, right? And loving and accepting yourself no matter what the situation. I mean, I was in business for a lot of years and I had to learn well, I'd already learned it, but I deepened the practice of when I was in a situation in meetings and so on. Because if you guys have ever been in meetings, whether it's from blue collar workers, mid-level managers to CFOs, it's like they can get kind of tense sometimes. So how do you mitigate your own emotional well-being so that you don't get sucked into, whatever is going on in that meeting? And then the same thing, and whatever's going on in social media. Hi, I'm Judd, by the way, and welcome to the channel. And if you're new, welcome. If you're just coming back, hello and welcome to you too. So I guess the point is how do you look after yourself? What do you do that nurtures your soul? Um, what what calls you up to be aware, to be awake, to be alive? And here's that expression I love, tingling ever so slightly with delight. But seriously, what is it that calls you up to be aware? So today we're chatting about creating certainty in uncertain times. For the longest time, I never gave a thought to my mental well-being. I just never thought about it. I always gave thought to my physical well-being, to being athletic and being healthy, and the food I put into my body. So that, yeah, because I realized long time ago, especially after breaking a lot of bones, doing crazy stuff, yeah, that it's like, I realized it's like, whoa, hang on, buddy, you have your mental well-being to look after too, and that's my question, to you guys. Like I was going from pillar to post and just, like I felt like I was in a pinball game, and just, like I can't. Well, that's what led me to Buddhism. But it's like I felt like going from pillar to post. Just, I got to do something about getting control of my emotions, but I didn't know how to do that. Anyways, the question I have is, how would you? Like, I know how I did things differently. For me, it was like I finally found a meditative practice to help me calm the hell down, right? And understand that I wasn't going out of my mind. I keep looking in the middle here, but the camera's actually over here because I'm doing this on my phone. Anyways, how would you have done things just a little bit differently, right? If you could. And in the comments, just post your thoughts. Like, and I'm not looking to get intimate or like, tell me your life story. Just, if this is something that kind of came up for you in your life, how would you, have done things just a little bit differently? So kind of lastly, how do you look after yourself, right? How do you look after yourself? What do you do that nurtures your soul? And remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. My goal on this channel is to help people out, to get them to think, to get them to, like question, why do I believe this? Why do I believe this way? Why do I think this way? Critical thinking is what I mean, not to go all scientific, which this isn't really scientific, but it's like science is about critical thinking where you question. I mean, my mom, my dad, especially my dad, I questioned things from when I came out of the womb. It was like, well, why? How come? Why is this like this? Why do I have to do that? When do I have to? This doesn't make sense. I gradually learned to not question. In my head, I was still questioning. And in my head, I was mostly going, but that didn't get me anywhere. So I realized, okay, you can't really be doing that. So anyways, post your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And it's beautiful here. I love it. Have a fantastic day. Love you all.